I'm gonna go ahead and start our recording. I record all of these so that if anyone wants to go back ever and go back through something that you learned, something that wasn't super clear or something that you need help with, you want to go back and hear a funny joke that I said, it's totally up to you, okay? You don't have to go back ever if you don't want to, but I do record you just in case anyone would like to. So today we're going to start off with a spiritual thought, and then Blake, could I ask you to say our opening prayer for us?
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So our spiritual thought today, I don't know if anyone's heard of Nephi in the Book of Mormon, but I love Nephi. He's awesome. And one of the reasons why I really look up to him is because of what I'm going to read today. So in 1 Nephi chapter 2, verse 16, he says this. This is shortly after, just to give you guys a little bit of a preface, this is shortly after the Lord told Lehi that they need to leave Jerusalem, okay? And so in this verse, in verse 16 of chapter 2, it says, "And it came to pass that I, Nephi, being exceedingly young, nevertheless being large in stature, and also having great desires to know the mysteries of God, wherefore I did cry unto the Lord, and behold, he did visit me, and did soften my heart, that I did believe all the words which had been spoken by my father. Wherefore I did not rebel against him like unto my brothers." So it's interesting because his brothers, as we know, rebel against their father almost the entire time that we see their story. But Nephi, right here in verse 16, he says that he had great desires to know of the mysteries of God. And apparently he had the faith to know, because then he cried unto the Lord, seeking to know if he should go along with what his dad was saying or not. But the Lord did visit him and did soften his heart, that he did believe all the words which had been spoken by his father. And then again, in 1 Nephi chapter 10, verse 17, "And it came to pass that I, Nephi, after having heard all the words of my father," this one is after his father told him about the tree of life vision that he had, "concerning the things which he saw in a vision, and also the things which he spake by the power of the Holy Ghost, which power he received by faith on the Son of God. And the Son of God was the Messiah who should come. I, Nephi, was desirous also that I might see and hear and know of these things by the power of the Holy Ghost, which is the gift of God unto all those who diligently seek him, as well in times of old as in the time that he should manifest himself unto the children of men." I feel like these two verses are pivotal in Nephi's growth. And I think about my own life and times where I choose to focus on my doubt and times where I choose to act in faith, and the outcome is drastically different. And so I read these verses to you today as an invitation. You know, this semester, as you go through your busy schedules, we all have things going on in our lives. You guys are taking a bunch of classes. Remember that if we rely on the Lord, things will work out. And if we do that today, then we'll be in a way better place tomorrow than if we choose to doubt today and not trust in him. Neal A. Maxwell said, "Therefore, what we insistently desire over time is what we will eventually become, what we will receive in eternity." So our desires have a really big impact on us. Looking at Nephi, they sure had a big impact on him, and they do on us as well. So Blake, go ahead.
Father in heaven, we're so grateful for the start of the semester, and we're grateful for our professor, Brother Birch, and we're grateful, Father, for this time that we have to learn more about coding and more about Python. And we ask thee to bless us during this class period with the Spirit, that we may have a greater understanding of the things that we'll learn during this class, and that we'll be able to help and to edify one another during this time. And we pray for these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Blake. All right. Well, everyone, welcome to cse111. Just by a show of hands, who took 110? cse110. Okay, so the majority of you guys. Did anyone here take CS124? Okay, how about CIT160? Okay, sweet. So it looks like most of you guys know Python, which is good. Other prereqs for this class include 124, which is in C++, and CIT160, which is in JavaScript. And so as this class has grown and has been run for a couple of semesters, those numbers for the CIT 160 and 124 folks has continued to go down, which I'm really happy about. All right, well, let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so this is cse111, programming with functions. And it should just kind of pick up right where you left off with cse110. We'll have a little bit of review these first few days, and then we'll kind of go from there. So a little bit of information about me. I am on campus, and currently I am in Rigby 338. Because of COVID and everything going on, I don't really see anyone in my office, but I do have a calendar available that you guys can mark appointments on. Let me just pull this over here. So if you look at our course, I'm just going to click on syllabus here. And if you click on detailed syllabus, there's pretty much everything. Oh, sorry, this is out of date. I'll update that after this class. But there's everything that you'll need for the class in here. Amongst these things, there is a where to get help document. I would actually encourage you guys to just bookmark both of these, the help document and the video spreadsheet, because then if at any point in this class you're struggling, you'll be like, oh, I bookmarked something to give me help. So I'm going to click on the help document right here. And there are 7 things on this list of different places that you can go for help. Okay, we start off with iLearn course content. We have the video spreadsheet. So notice that this is linked twice. It's in the syllabus and it's in the help document because a lot of people get help from here. All right, this is where I will post all of our recorded lectures. It's where I'll post the slides. These are available to you right now. It's where I post videos for all of your different assignments. So let's say you start up your proof assignment this week and you have no idea what you're being asked to do. You can watch this video and get a little bit of direction. Let's say by the end of the week you don't finish it. Okay, well, this will become unlocked after it's due, and you can watch a video of me showing my completed copy of this proof assignment and get any help that you need and submit it late for partial credit. Additionally, if you did finish it on time, you can still watch these walkthrough videos and see another way that things could be done. It is very likely that all these proof assignments will be unique to each one of us. So anyways, these videos are here to help you guys, and they'll just be unlocked throughout the semester as we go through. Next one on here, we have Google. Hopefully you guys have all heard of that. Here's a link to some tips on how to get good programming help with Google. It is a skill to be able to search Google effectively, especially in programming, but Google will be your best friend both in school and out. The help channel in Slack. So I sent out an email the other day with an invite link to this Slack workspace. All right. There is a help channel. Anytime you need help with anything programming related, I would encourage you to post on here. I love getting messages from you guys, but if it's a question about any one of your assignments, there's a 99% chance that I will have you posted on the help channel because I'm convinced that you won't be the only one with that question. So if you have questions, post them on the help channel. I will answer them there, or my TAs will answer them there. And so we're going to be using Slack pretty heavily this semester. Additionally, down here, we have all of these direct messages. Now, you probably don't have all these showing up, but if you want to send anyone in this class a message, you can just hit this plus button right here and search for someone. I love using Slack for messages because of the continuity. When you guys send me an email and I reply to it, that email usually gets like archived or trashed or put in some random folder that I never look at ever again. When you send me a message here in Slack, it's here. And so when you send me a message a couple weeks later, it's still there. And so if I've given you answers to things that you wanted help with, you guys can go back and look at them. And if I need to help you with things that I've helped you with before, I can go back and look and see where we've been because I have a terrible memory. Okay, so please use Slack to message me. Don't email me. Don't use iLearn. Just use Slack. It's awesome. I get notifications on my phone, and I'm on here pretty much all the time. So any questions about Slack, you guys? Okay, hopefully you guys enjoy using it. I would encourage you, it's not required, but I'd encourage you to download the apps. There's an app for the computer that you can download, whether you're on a Chromebook, Windows, or Mac, or other Linux machine. And then there's also mobile that you can download for mobile devices as well. It's just nice because then you don't have to log in every time. If you were going to the browser, you'd have to log in every time. And then you also get notifications if you have it downloaded as well. All right, the Tutoring Center. Hopefully you all know about the Tutoring Center. It is a free resource offered to students here. And you just go in there, say what class you want to tutor for, and you find a tutor. And you can set up tutoring appointments to be recurring. So they happen at the same time every week for the entire semester. A lot of people are like, oh, well, if I get a tutor, it means I'm not smart. Well, that's not true. If you get a tutor, it means you're good at planning ahead and you want someone to be able to ask questions to when questions arise. So this is here and it's an awesome resource. And again, it's free. Our class TAs. So we have 2 TAs this semester. We have Ben Ellis. Ben, do you want to raise your hand for us?
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to find it here on participants, but not seeing the option. But anyway, I'm Ben. You guys need help, I'm more than willing to help you.
Ben is awesome. He's been with me for a while now, and he's awesome. He's better at Python than I am. And then there's also Omar. Omar's great. I'm not sure if Omar's here today, but he'll also be in our class. And then the last one here is set up an appointment with me. This isn't last to discourage you from it. It's last because, like I said, if you ask me a programming question, I'll most likely have you posted on the help channel. But if you guys need anything, you guys can use this link to set up an appointment with me. This will add an appointment to my calendar and to your calendar, and it'll just be there. You don't even have to send me a message. You can just go here, set up an appointment, and then I'll see you at whatever time that you set up. So yeah, this is here for you guys. Any questions about the help document? Sweet. All right, let's keep going. So what is cse111? An awesome programming course that will have you write programs that include functions, parameters, scope, and return values, work with larger code bases than you're used to, produce useful applications. Successful graduates will write and call functions in programs to accomplish meaningful tasks, research and use functions and objects written by others, write programs that can detect and recover from invalid conditions, follow good practices in function design, appreciate the value of programming, and be confident that you can be successful in programming and in learning more about it. All right, so today we're going to go over all of this stuff. Technology that you need in the class, what grading will be like, what you can expect from me, what the late policy is, how the course is organized, course communication, which we kind of already covered, and the honor code. Okay, so technology is used in this course. Surprise, surprise, Python 3. It looks like pretty much all you guys took 111 or 110. So you should all have Python 3 installed. If you got a new computer or didn't take 110, it's pretty easy to get that up and running. VS Code, again, you guys should have already used it. If not, go ahead and download that and install it. It is the text editor that we're going to be using. If you are super gung-ho about brackets or Atom or Sublime or some other heavier IDE, I will not discourage you from using whatever you want to use. With that said, I'll be using VS Code, and probably the majority, if not all of us, will be using VS Code to write and run our programs. So, and then Slack, and that's pretty much it outside of an internet browser. You're expected to have a laptop or desktop computer that can run these applications. So course organization, there are 13 weeks in this semester. I mean, technically there's 14, but happy news, we don't have a final exam in this class. So really we're 13 weeks, okay? 1 lesson per week. So when I learn, it's nicely set up. You just have 1 module that you have to worry about every single week. For each module, there will be a prepare item. Most of these are going to be links to readings. A lot of those will have videos in them. And then you'll also have a checkpoint assignment. That checkpoint assignment is basically a way for you to measure your level of understanding from the reading. Okay, if you're able to do the checkpoint, then you can move on confidently knowing that you got from the reading what you were meant to get from the reading. After that, we have our team assignments. So a 1 hour programming activity to be completed within 3 to 5 or with 3 to 5 other students during class time. So this week, we only have this one class, but every week from here on out, we would regularly meet on Monday and Wednesday. If you saw the Zoom invitation, you'll see that Mondays are the day that we will meet any week that the university is open, Monday and Wednesday. And then Wednesdays will be for you guys to complete your team activities. You will do those independently with your teams. And so we're not going to meet as a class on Wednesdays unless there's a holiday on Monday. Okay. Then you'll have a proof assignment. This is a large individual programming project. Many of these span 2 lessons with a milestone deliverable coming due at the end of the first lesson. Okay, so this should be really familiar to all of you. This is the same setup that we have for 110. So hopefully this works for you guys. And then you'll have a ponder, check your understanding. Every other lesson will have a multiple choice quiz to help you check your understanding. And then a reflection on the other weeks will contain a short 2 to 3 question response or 2 to 3 question short response to allow you to reflect on the things you're learning. Okay. And then we'll just repeat this every week for the next few months. Any questions about how the course is organized?
So you say like usually no class on Wednesday, is that right?
Yes.
So we will do team activity on Monday or Wednesday, which one?
Mondays, I will host a recorded classroom just like this. And Wednesdays, you will meet with your teams. If you want to meet over Skype or Facebook Messenger or Zoom or Google Meet or Hangouts, you guys can choose where you want to meet. But I recommend that you meet during class time. If you have several people in your group who are in different time zones that would prefer a later time or an earlier time, that's totally fine. But everyone in your group has to agree. Otherwise, you're just going to meet during our regular class time at 10:15 on Wednesday morning, and you'll just meet with your teams to do your team assignment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions about our course organization? Sweet. All right. Grading. So the total grade breakdown, 15% of your grade is coming out of the checkpoints. Okay. 15% out of your team activities, 55% from your prove assignments, 10% from check your understanding, and 5% reflections. Okay. So if you look at this, 10% and 5%, those should be automatic gimmies. As long as you just do it, it's not even like you really have to prepare for these check your understanding or reflections. You just kind of do them. The checkpoints, same thing. They're generally very small programming exercises, just to make sure that you're ready to go for the rest of your assignments for that week. Your team activities, as long as you meet with your team, you will always get these done. Here's how I know. Because just like in cse111, I've given you guys the solutions. Okay, so I invite you guys to work on the programming assignment for at least an hour before you view the solution, but then you view the solution. Okay, so really 15, 30, 45% of this class, you guys should have in the bag. And then the last thing here is just your prove assignments. Okay, these prove assignments, I will be here to help along with our class TAs. In previous semesters, Ben and Omar have set up tutoring sessions multiple days every single week of the semester to help anyone who needs help with their prove assignments. We have the help channel. And so hopefully you guys will be successful. You guys definitely have everything that you need to be successful as long as you're able to work out timing and scheduling and making sure that you have enough time to put towards this class. As a 2-credit class, do you guys know what the university's recommendation is for the amount of time you should spend on this class? 2. Any other thoughts?
6 to
Isn't
8.
it 3 hours every credit?
Yeah, so they say 3 to 4 hours every credit. If we multiply that by 2, we got 6 to 8 hours that you can expect. Now, the university says that. When I was a student, that never happened. But there were some classes that were harder than others and would take more time than others. But just so you guys know, anytime I'm making like a student schedule, what I like to do is block out my time for that. If I have a job or something else going on in my life, or I want to schedule a date night a couple nights a week or something, I'll put those into my calendar, make sure they're there. And then I'll be like, okay, I need 6 hours for this class, 9 hours for this class, 10 or 11 hours for this class. and I'll find a spot to put those in my calendar. And then on that day, at that time, I'll do that. And if I have extra time, awesome. I can go read a book, or I can go work more or play more, whatever. But if you schedule that time right now for every week in the semester, then the chance of you falling behind is really, really slim. All right, methodology. So this is how we will grade your assignments. All right, if you don't submit anything, obviously you'll get a 0. If you made some attempt, but it is severely lacking, you'll get a 50%. If it's developing, so I can kind of tell what it's supposed to be, you got some good stuff in there, but it is still really far from actually working, you'll get a 75. Slightly deficient means you're really close. All right, it's almost done, it's just barely not working, couple little errors, that's an 85%. 93%, you did everything that the assignment asked you to do, and then 100% you went above and beyond. This could be any stretch challenge that's included in the assignment prompt, or anything else that you want to do to kind of make the program your own to go above and beyond. Okay, again, this is the same as it was in cse111. Letter grades will be awarded as follows. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's pretty common across.
Hey, Brother Birch, can I make a comment?
Yeah, please, Ben.
Yeah, so whenever you're trying to reach for that above and beyond, for the 100% to make it your own, that doesn't mean, you throw in a bunch of like print statements. I see like over the past few semesters, students always think that if they just put in a couple of like print statements that, are kind of like custom prompts for the user, that's like different from the assignment, that they'll get, the 100% for it. That's not what it means to go above and beyond. To go above and beyond means to like add additional maybe error checking, or compensate for like the user putting in all types of different type of input in your program, being able to compensate for things like that. So just keep that in mind whenever you're trying to go for that 100% and go above and beyond.
Awesome. To go along with that, it would only take a couple seconds to print up a couple variables that I already have in my program. And so if you tried to get that 7% in just a couple of seconds, you probably won't get that 7%. And so, like Ben said, you want to add something that will actually add value to your program. Thank you, Ben. All right, course communication. I already said this, all personal messages. Please don't send me emails or messages in iLearn, just send me messages in Slack. Assignment help. We already talked about the help channel. That's where you can get help with your assignments outside of meeting with me and meeting with our TAs or tutors. And then discussions. No discussions will take place in iLearn. They will all be in Slack. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of iLearn discussions. One of the reasons why I like Slack is it's a lot easier to navigate. It's a lot more clear. It's easier to upload files and manipulate files and edit posts and get notifications, and pretty much everything that has to do with the discussion is better in Slack. So that's where all of our discussions will be. Late work policy. So this late work policy is coming from a professional world perspective. All right. If I'm in a job, no one wants me to be late. My boss doesn't want me to be late. My customers don't want me to be late. I don't want to be late because I want my job. And so let's talk about what all of this looks like in the professional world. So for the customer, whether you're an independent consultant or a large firm, it's essential to deliver on client expectations. That includes fulfilling your contract within the established timeline. For the project, deadlines force you to think through the steps you need to achieve it. Each step will require a certain amount of time, and that will better inform how long it will take you to finish the project. And for you, when employees consistently meet deadlines, they're seen as reliable and responsible. These are marketable skills employees carry with them throughout their working lives. Okay, so with that said, every day that an assignment is late, you'll be marked down 20%. So if an assignment is due tonight at 11:59 p.m. and you submit it at midnight tonight, 1 minute later, it's docked 20%. It was late. Anytime within that 24-hour period, it'll be down 20%. Every 24-hour period after that, it'll be another 20% until it hits 0. Extenuating circumstances must be discussed with me prior to the assignment due date. Okay, so if anything's going on, just let me know. I'm here to help you. Things happen. People have babies. People get in car wrecks. If you say that you lost your internet, I'll be like, go to McDonald's. With that said, I'm very understanding. Okay. And so if there's a legitimate extenuating circumstance, just let me know and I'll be like, sweet. Let's see, question in the chat. Oh, no worries, Braden. No worries. All right. We are not leaving that easily. We are going over into Python. Okay. So because we're covering kind of 2 lessons in 1 week, we're going to dive straight into Python. Before I do this, any questions about the syllabus, grading, late work, course communication, anything? Are we meeting in class next Wednesday? Good. Okay, sweet. Yeah. If you guys do think of any questions, just shoot me a message, or better yet, post on Slack so everyone else can see your question too. All right. So installing Python, you guys have access to these slides. Okay. So that's why these links are here. If you have a Mac, if you have a Windows computer, you can just click on these links and go and install them. If you have a Chromebook, I've never done that. Granted, I've never done it on a Mac either, but there's got to be a way. So just Google install Python on a Chromebook. My wife is actually taking a different programming class from me, and I totally installed VS Code on her Chromebook yesterday. And I was all excited because, you know, Chromebooks didn't used to be able to support programs that like VS Code that run on Linux. But anyways, once you have it installed, go ahead and go to your command prompt or terminal and or console and type in Python -- version just to make sure that it is running. If this command works and it returns something like this, Python 3.8.1, and it shows you the version, then it means that Python is installed on your computer and you can run Python code on there. Really easy way to check to make sure that it's all set up. This is for Windows people. Pretty sure Macs come with Python installed on their computers already, for better or worse. We'll talk about that in a sec. But for Windows people, to get this command to work in the command prompt, Python space -- version, it has to be included in your path variables. So these are my environment variables. And notice here is the path to my Python installation. If this is not here, I will not be able to run any Python commands in my command prompt. If you think about a program, if you have a variable declared in one file and you have a different variable declared in a different file, they're not going to know what each other's variables are, and they will have no idea of pulling the data out of those variables. It's the exact same thing with our computers. If I don't put this in a global environment variable for my computer, then I will not be able to open up the command prompt in any directory on my computer and run Python commands. If I don't have this here, then to run Python code, I would have to go into this folder. In my app data, local programs, Python 3832. I'd have to be in there in my command prompt, and there I could run Python code. But because I put it in my environment variables, it's available everywhere on my computer. Okay, so that's a very common issue. Now, the reason why I said it's not always a good thing that Macs come with Python pre-installed is because a lot of Macs come with Python 2 pre-installed, which is no good. Okay, no one's ever going to touch Python 2 again. And so when you run Python -- version, if it says Python 2 something, you will need to install Python 3. And I would recommend that you just Google your operating system name, whether it's Mac or Windows or whatever, your operating system name, and then Python upgrade from 2 to 3 and figure out how to do that. Okay. Any questions about installing Python?
What version of Python do you want us at?
3 point anything. Yeah, as long as it's 3 or higher, I'm happy.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, working with VS Code. Obviously, you have to download it first. And then there are a couple of extensions that I would recommend. This one, definitely no questions about it. Install this Python extension. There's no reason not to. It'll really help you with every aspect of your Python development. And the next one is Code Runner. Now, I've actually had some issues with this with some programs, but Code Runner is awesome. It allows you to run programs really easily with just the click of a button that looks like a play button. It's really nice. Sometimes, though, it doesn't work for me when I have programs that require input. Maybe I have to update it or something, but with Python, I kind of end up just defaulting to the console or the terminal to run my programs. But this code runner is awesome. I've used it for lots of different programming languages, and it's really great. Code organization and VS Code convenience. All right, enough with the screenshots. Let me pull up VS Code here. Okay, good. So VS Code usually looks something like this. If you want to change what it looks like, you can go into File and Preferences and Color Theme, and there's a bunch of them that you can kind of play with. I kind of like the default one. But anyways, so this is what VS Code looks like. What I would recommend that you do for this class is you open up a folder. All right, so on my computer, if I just come into here, into my File Explorer, let me open that up. All right, and I would never actually put something on my desktop that I want to keep. But let's say that this was where I wanted to store my code. I would just make a file called, or a folder called cse110, oh, sorry, cse111. And then over in VS Code, I can click on File and Open Folder. And then it'll open up a little File Explorer. I'll go to where I made that folder and I can open it, and I'll just hit Select Folder. Then you'll notice that this little mini directory shows up on the left-hand side. And in here, I can click on New File, and I can be like week1 checkpoint.py. And if I want to make a new file, I can say week1, week1 team activity.py. And all of these show up right here, which makes it really nice. If I want to add folders in here for each week, I can, or a folder for checkpoints and a different folder for team activities, I can, but they're all right here. It makes it really easy to navigate between them, and it's awesome. So no matter what class you're taking, I would recommend that you do this. The setup that I have looks more like this. Okay, I have a folder on my computer called Git. You could call it something like programming projects or programming or something. But then I have every single one of the classes that I teach in here, and a huge array of personal projects and random scripts for hotkeys and all sorts of stuff. And if I look in any one of these, there's a bunch of folders, and I can look really easily at all of my, for this class, cse111 programs. And this is super nice because it makes it really easy for me to navigate all of my code. Okay. Additionally, if I want to search everything in here, let's say at one point I did something with like an input function and I forgot how to get input from a user. I could right click on this and say find in folder, and I could search input, and there's all the times I say input in this folder. Okay, so that's really nice too. So just a couple of quick tips. You guys don't have to do any of this, but it's made my life happier. All right, questions about working with VS Code? Okay, then I'll share one last thing. This code runner reminded me of that. Let's say, I'm just gonna put a simple command in here. I'll say print hello world, and I'll save that. Now, this is the play button that I was talking to you about. It says run code. And if I hit it, it'll pop up in this output console, my program, which is pretty slick. Okay, it's really nice. But if I say something like this, user input equals input, say something, and I try to print that, I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna hit play right here. And you can see it's running it. It says say something, but I try to type it in here and it says cannot edit in read-only editor. So it's not gonna work when I hit that play button. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'll just right click on this folder name. Oh, I can't do that. Well, that's okay. I'll click on terminal and I'll make sure that I'm in the right folder. And I am desktop cse111, that's where I'm at. And then right here, I can just say py week1 team.py. I can say hello world, and there it is. Okay. And so this is pretty much what I always use to run my programs, is just in the terminal. I'll just open it up. I'll say py and then the file name, and then I can run all my code. Okay. Hopefully this isn't a revelation to anyone, but if it is, here it is. So, all right, let's keep going. Code organization, we just talked about all of this. Debugging in VS Code. What is debugging and why worry about it? This is not rhetorical. What do you guys think?
It's like when your code breaks and you have to figure out what went wrong with it.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, anyone else? What is it and why is it useful?
Well, if there's a bug in your code, you want to get rid of it, so you debug it. But it's useful because obviously you want your code to work properly.
Yeah, you guys, there's a bunch of different ways to debug. All right. Probably the most elementary way of debugging is to like look at code and be like, bam, I spotted a bug. Okay. Now, obviously we do this. We do this all the time. With that Python extension installed in VS Code, it'll show you little red underlines if you have a typo or you typed in something that doesn't exist. And it's awesome, you know, but that is a form of debugging. Now, is it the most comprehensive form of debugging? No. All right, there are a lot of different ways to debug, a lot of different levels of debugging, but it is absolutely crucial because, like Jacob said, and Blake, you want your code to work. Okay, so it is the process of detecting and removing existing and potential errors. It is used to find and resolve bugs or defects. The more the code, the more potential errors, which makes sense. Okay, so when I'm writing code, and when you write code, I would recommend that you write it incrementally. Now, what I mean by that is you write it bit by bit. So if we look back here at our program right here, which has nothing to do with the team activity this week, notice that first I ran the print statement, made sure that it worked. Okay, Python's installed on my computer, it worked, the print statement worked, and then I could use an input and then test this. Well, let's say that I actually wanted to do like arithmetic with the user input. I tell them to enter a number and I'll tell them what that is cubed or something. All right, well, these would be like the first two steps. And then the next one is I actually use that, use their input and say input cubed. Okay, but I write it out bit by bit and I run it incrementally so that I can test it as I go. Because before I write this, I know that the print statement's good to go. I know that the input statement works. Okay, and so right here, I'm gonna try to do this one. All right, and I'm gonna hit my up arrow in my terminal and hit enter, say something. I will say 5, and I get a big old error. Okay, and if I look at this, it says unsupported operand types for asterisk, asterisk, or POW, string, and int. Okay, so I have a type issue. And so if I look at this, I know the inputs are always gonna return a string. We could try this with an actual number. Let's hit up arrow and I'll say 5, and it still gives me the same error. Okay, because even if I type a number, input doesn't return a number. It's not that smart. Input will return a string no matter what I type, even if it's a number. And so right here, I'll just say, I'll just cast it as an int. All right, and then I'll run it again. And I'll say 5, and it worked. Okay, now, yes, I ran this program like 5 times to get it to work. But because I did it incrementally, it doesn't matter if this program is 3 lines or 1,000, you know, as I work through this code, I'll only be worrying about a small handful of lines of code to fix errors on. Because if I'm testing it incrementally, running it incrementally, then every time I add new code, I'll just run it again. And if there's an error, I know that it was in the last 5 lines of code that I wrote. Okay, so as you write code, write it chunk by chunk to make it easier for you to find errors and easier to debug. Steps, code runner, we talked about launch.json. I'm not really going to go into that today. If you guys want to talk about launch.json, we can at some point. But if there's no interest from you guys, I'm not really going to worry about it today.
Brother Birch?
Yeah.
What is the extension that allows you to access variables like pi? Is that math dot something like that?
It is math. Yeah. So it's a library, okay, that you have to import, or a module that you import. And if you import math, then you can use math.pi, math.square root, math.log. There's like a billion things in there. If we wanted to Google that, so there's a lot of things that I don't know. I know about math, okay, but no matter what programming language you're doing or what person you're talking to and how many years they've been doing it, languages are always bigger than we are. And there's always way more to them than any one person could remember or grasp. And so let's say I wanted to find something to do with Python. And so I said, Python, how to use pi, not pip. We will talk about that later this semester, but not now. How to use pi. Okay, right here, W3 Schools, math.pi constant. And you'll see that we have the import of the math library, and then we can use math.pi. Okay, and then if I wanted to, I could be like, well, I wonder what else is in the Python math module. And I could click right here and see that there are about a billion things in here, all having to do with math, all awesome. But anyways, I always Google stuff, you know, so Tanner, that was an awesome question. And if you think of that or a similar question while you're writing a program, just Google Python and whatever you want to try to do, and hopefully you can find what you need. All right, operators. So Python arithmetic, you guys covered this in 110. This is simply a review, but it's a good review. I have no idea when you guys took it or how much you were paying attention. Or how well you grasped operators, okay? A review is always good. All right, so let's start at the top. We have parentheses. These are in order of precedence, okay? Or as we would say back in school, order of operations. Okay, parentheses, just like in algebra, take the top, all right? They are our first level of precedence, the very top of our order of operations. Our asterisk, we just saw this. It's for exponents. There is a math way to do this. Now, when I say math, I mean with the math module. So if I import math right here and I say input cubed equals, let's see, math dot, I love VS Code. This is one of the reasons why. Okay, it shows everything in here in the math object, one of which is POW. And then I can say user input. Whoops. Okay. And then we'd have to just put 3 there to say what exponent. Okay, so that's math.pow. Another way of using these asterisks is negation. If you ever need to negate anything, that's next. Multiplication, division, floor division, and modulus all have the same level of precedence. If you have multiple of these operators, you'll just read left to right. Addition and subtraction is the last on our list prior to our assignment operator, which is our equal sign. So all math will take place before that equal sign gets hit, which is really good. Otherwise, it'd be tough to do math and assign it to stuff. Examples. So 5 times 3 plus 2. What's this going to be?
25.
25. Yeah, if I didn't care about the parentheses, if they weren't here, what would it be?
17.
17. Yeah, so they make a big difference. What's this one?
25.
25. Sweet. What's this one? Negative X. It's not a trick question. What's this one?
25.
Also 25. Okay, how about this one?
25. I'm gonna assume, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of making that assumption too. I don't remember writing this. So where do we start?
Parentheses.
Parentheses, yeah. Okay, and in the parentheses, what do we do first?
4 divided by 2.
Yes. Okay. Hang on a sec. There we go. Okay, so that'll give us 5 times 3 plus 2.0. Anytime we do division, it returns a float. Then we have the rest of it. Okay, what's next?
3 plus 2.
3 plus 2. Good. Okay, we'll go ahead and multiply that by 5. We have 25.0. What's next?
25 to the power of 2.
Yes. Good. Okay. And then what?
125 divided by 2.
Yeah, at this point, we're just going to go straight from left to right because division, floor division, and modulus all have the same level of precedence, and addition is after all of those. We're just going to go from left to right. We get 62.5, and then floor divided by 2, we get 31. Modulus 2 is 1, and then plus 2 is 3. So it's actually not 25. Okay. All right. Any questions about this review? Sweet. You guys should see the one that I set up for a different class the other day. Let me actually pull it up real quick. It's kind of fun. Let me close that. I thought I had, yeah, I had it open. Okay, sweet. Come on, little guy. Oh, there it is. Isn't that fun? I'm excited. I don't like torturing my students, but I enjoy the order of operations. All right. Let's see where to go. Okay. Okay. Functions to be familiar with. None of these should be new. Okay. Print, input, float, round, absolute value, length, min, max, lower, upper, sum, sorted, type, replace, split, join, append. Okay. We've all used these, or at least seen them. But if you look at one of these and you're like, yeah, I have no idea what that means, you could Google it right now. Or when it comes to the point where you have a word that you want to split in half, you could Google Python how to split a word into 2 words. Okay, and then split would come up. Or Python how to join 2 words together, and join will come up. Or Python how to make a word lowercase, and lower will turn up. Okay, but these are very, very common functions. So if you're not familiar with any of them, go ahead and Google it, just so that you are familiar with them. A question about functions in Python. So there's a lot of functions right here on this slide, but if I wanted to find like a comprehensive list of all the functions that are built into Python, where would I find that? You know?
Google.
Google, yes. All right. So let's head over to Google, and I'm just going to say Python functions. If that doesn't work, I'll say Python built-in functions. So there's W3 schools, and then there's docs.python. Which will have more?
Probably docs.python.
Probably the docs. Okay. Now, W3 schools is fantastic, and it'll have an awesome list of 95% of the functions that you'll probably ever use. But for that extra 5% that W3 schools doesn't have, that comprehensive list that we're looking for would be in the docs. Okay. And I just look at built-in functions, and here they are. Every single one that was on that slide is right here in this table. And then it goes through every single one and explains how to use it with examples. Pretty sweet. And then if there's one, it's like, oh, you know, here's this next function. If I wanted to see perhaps more simple examples, then maybe I'd Google Python next W3 schools and then check it out in W3 schools. Okay. All right. Okay, coding exercise number 1. We have 10 minutes left of this class. So I'm going to split us up into breakout rooms. And what we're going to do is convert this equation into Python. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make breakout rooms. They're going to be small breakout rooms. I'll try to do pairs. There might be some of you guys with 3. Okay, any questions?
So who are our teammates that, like, when will we know?
You will know when you join your breakout room. Okay, so I just opened them. Most of you, it looks like, have 3. Half of you guys have 2. So I guess it's about half and half. I'll bring you guys back in like 3 minutes. What they came up with?
Sure, I could do it.
I think we
I was
got
gonna
it.
say I saw a few good groups. So yeah, go ahead. That'd be awesome.
All right. I just set all the variables equal to the numbers it's supposed to be, and then just wrote the kind of what x equaled, and then told it to print. Oh, 4.80. So those. Did you just want it to be
Awesome.
like that, or
That's
just to
perfect.
project?
Nope, that's perfect. That's you even did more than I asked you to do. Lines 3 through 6 and 8. That's fantastic. Great work. Okay, did anyone try anything different? Okay. Oh yeah, go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, I'm okay to share my screen as well.
Yeah,
I'll
please.
share it with you guys. Right here. You guys seeing that or no? I think
Yeah,
I think it's shared. Okay, yeah. So we just did pretty much the same thing, but we asked for user input.
Very nice.
So the user had input of what's A, B, C, and D. And so when you ran it down here, you have we just put 1, 2, 3, 4, and just shot out the answer at the end. So that's pretty much all we did.
Great. That's awesome. Okay, well, you guys, we are at our time today. It was awesome to get to know you a little bit. It was good to meet you all, and I will look forward to seeing you in 5 days on Monday. I got one question about someone who couldn't run Python on their computer, or that it was Python 2 that was trying to run. All of those questions, please post on Slack. Okay, lots of people have issues with it at the beginning of every semester. So post them on Slack in the help channel, and it'll benefit all of us. So.
Okay, sorry, just one last question.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead, Brigham.
So it was this breakout room our like team activity in the future? No.
No. So this week, if you look in iLearn, your only team-ish activity thing is the icebreaker in Slack. So just post an introduction on Slack and make a comment on a few of your peers. And that's next week, you'll have your first team activity.
So we will know our teammate next week. Is that right?
Yes. I will form your teams next Monday.
Okay.
Because next Monday, people probably won't drop and nobody else can add. So I'll make your teams on Monday, next Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, anything else, you guys?
I actually had a quick question. There was a link, I forgot where it was, but it was about like student interviews to sign up.
Yeah, so let's see, where was that? I think, was that in my welcome email? I think
I think so.
Yeah, so go check out the welcome email. Those aren't required. I would love to talk with you guys one-on-one and meet you, see where you're from and what you like, and you guys can ask me anything you want. Yeah, they're totally optional, but it's one of my favorite things that I do every semester is just meeting with you guys one-on-one and talking. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys have an awesome rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing your intros on Slack. Okay. Bye, guys.